This is the story of how one of Hollywood's most beloved entertainers spent decades building something the film industry refused to build itself, then lost it all in the Nevada desert. Not to bad luck, but to bad math, bad partners, and a business model that was broken from the very first day. Debbie Reynolds was America's sweetheart. She danced with Gene Kelly, sang her way to a #1 hit, earned an Oscar nomination, and performed on Las Vegas stages for decades. But on July 7, 1997, she walked into a federal courthouse in Nevada and filed for personal bankruptcy, having watched a 6-year dream collapse under $11.5 million in secured liens, a leased casino that never paid her a dime in gaming revenue, and a husband she later said had robbed her blind. This is that story. The Woman and the Dream. To understand why Debbie Reynolds bought a closed hotel in Las Vegas in 1992, you have to go back to the spring of 1970 and to what she witnessed at one of the most heartbreaking auctions in Hollywood history. MGM Studios, the studio behind Gone with the Wind, The Wizard of Oz, and Singin' in the Rain, decided to liquidate its entire wardrobe and prop departments. Decades of irreplaceable costumes and artifacts were going on the block, to be scattered among private buyers who might never show them to anyone. The studio saw it as dead inventory, and nobody in the industry seemed bothered enough to stop it. Reynolds had starred in Singin' in the Rain herself, opposite Gene Kelly in 1952, and she knew exactly what was being thrown away. She showed up at that MGM auction every day for weeks, and when it was over, she had spent approximately $600,000 of her own money acquiring costumes and props from Academy Award-winning films. Her words about that moment were direct. They literally threw away our history, and I just got caught up in it. The stupidity and the lack of foresight to save our history. That $600,000 decision was the beginning of an obsession that would define the next 4 decades of her life, and ultimately cost her everything she built in Las Vegas. Over the following years, the collection kept growing. Reynolds acquired Marilyn Monroe's iconic white subway dress from the 7-Year Itch, the blue cotton test dress Judy Garland wore while filming The Wizard of Oz, one of the pairs of ruby slippers from that same film, Audrey Hepburn's ascot dress from My Fair Lady, Charlie Chaplin's bowler hat, Charlton Heston's tunic and cape from Ben-Hur, and a red gown Monroe wore in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. By the time the collection was fully assembled, it held more than 3,500 costumes, more than 20,000 photographs, hundreds of posters, and countless props. The problem was always the same. Where do you put 3,500 Hollywood costumes? Reynolds had spent years trying to establish a museum in Los Angeles with no success. The studios that profited from these films had no interest in preserving them, and she needed a building and a revenue stream to support one. In 1992, her third husband, a Virginia real estate developer named Richard Hamlet, came to her with what sounded like an answer. A closed hotel was sitting just east of the Las Vegas Strip, 2 blocks from the Las Vegas Convention Center at 305 Convention Center Drive. Originally built in 1970 as the Royal Inn, it had operated under various names before becoming the Paddlewheel Hotel and Casino, then shutting down completely in 1991. The 12-story tower on 6 acres was available at auction. Hamlet's pitch was simple: buy it, renovate it, put the museum inside, and use Debbie Reynolds herself as the entertainment draw. Las Vegas showrooms were still a viable business, and Reynolds had been working there for decades. Back in 1962, she had signed what was reported as the first $1 million entertainment contract for a holiday season residency at the Riviera. She was a proven draw, and the logic seemed sound on paper. Reynolds and Hamlet bought the Paddlewheel at auction for $2,200,000, getting a 12-story tower with approximately 200 rooms, a 6,600 square foot casino with 184 slot machines and 2 table games, and 6 acres of real estate just off the Strip. The hotel opens, and the problems begin. Reynolds put $2 million of her own money into initial renovations before the public ever saw the inside. Then in early 1994, the operating company went public as Debbie Reynolds Hotel and Casino, Incorporated, raising capital for an additional $7 to $8 million in further construction and improvements. The property reopened in July of 1993 as the Debbie Reynolds Hollywood Hotel and Casino. The Hollywood Motion Picture and Television Museum opened inside in 1995. The 500-seat Star Theatre, designed by her son Todd Fisher, hosted Reynolds herself on weekends alongside comedian Rip Taylor. She regularly opened her cabaret act with a line that got a laugh every time. "I'm Carrie Fisher's mother." The hotel had real charm and authenticity that no corporate mega-resort on the Strip could manufacture. Standing a few feet from the dress Marilyn Monroe wore in one of the most famous scenes in movie history was an experience money couldn't replicate anywhere else. Reynolds was proud of what she had built, and the guests who came specifically for the museum and the showroom understood exactly what made this place different from every other hotel on Convention Center Drive. None of that changed the fundamental problem embedded in the business from day one. Reynolds did not hold a Nevada non-restricted gaming license, which meant she could not directly operate the casino floor. The solution was to lease it to an outside slot route operator who ran the machines, collected the gaming revenue, and paid the hotel rent in return. Debbie Reynolds, Hotel and Casino, Incorporated, a company with the word casino in its legal name, collected essentially no casino revenue in a city built entirely around casino revenue. Todd Fisher, who took over as CEO in late 1995, put it plainly to the Las Vegas Sun. "What in the world are you doing with an operation like that in Vegas with no casino?" The business plan had pivoted to timeshare sales as the primary revenue source, but timeshare income is slow and inconsistent. Monthly negative cash flow ran approximately $450,000. The employee dining room alone lost $75,000 every single month. Calendar year 1996 produced an operating loss of $6.5 million. Fisher approached the Nevada Gaming Control Board about obtaining a full non-restricted license. The answer was no, not because Reynolds had done anything improper, but because the company didn't meet the required capital structure. Fisher later admitted, "I never even asked them for the license because I knew we didn't meet the capital requirements." Without gaming revenue, without timeshare sales covering the gap, and with no path to a gaming license, the company was caught in a box that tightened every single month. Fisher later told the Las Vegas Sun that some of the people running the operation behaved as though they were at the Mirage rather than a 200-room hotel just off the Strip, taking exorbitant salaries and cutting deals for themselves while the company bled cash. The creditors arrive. By 1996, problems were arriving from multiple directions at once. Reynolds' company had been counting on funding from Bennett Funding Group, a Syracuse, New York operation. In March of 1996, the Securities and Exchange Commission charged Bennett Funding Group with fraud totaling more than $570 million, exposing it as a massive Ponzi scheme. The son of Bennett Funding's founder was indicted by federal prosecutors in June of 1997. Whatever financing the Reynolds organization had been promised simply never materialized. Lawsuits followed. A Colorado company called Maxim Financial Corporation sued Reynolds and Hamlet, claiming that of an $800,000 loan from 1993, only $50,000 had ever been repaid. The marriage added another layer of damage. On May 16, 1996, Reynolds and Hamlet divorced, with a judgment of approximately $8.9 million in property, fees, and money Hamlet owed to Reynolds. She reportedly paid him $270,000 to buy out his interest in the hotel. Reynolds recalled his attitude in terms that left nothing ambiguous, quoting him directly, "I'm in it for the money. I'm not leaving. You'll never get rid of me. I control everything. It's all in my name. You're just a figurehead. You're nothing. And I don't love you." Her broader view of her marriages came out in a 1999 interview. "All of my husbands have robbed me blind. The only one who didn't take money was Eddie Fisher. He just didn't pay for the children." In October of 1996, a Phoenix-based developer called ILX Incorporated signed a letter of intent to acquire the hotel for $16,800,000, a number that would have paid off creditors and given Reynolds a way out. In early 1997, with the ILX transaction still pending, Reynolds personally guaranteed a $1.1 million bridge loan to keep the property running. Then the ILX financing collapsed. 3 entities filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection on July 7, 1997. Debbie Reynolds Hotel and Casino, Incorporated, Debbie Reynolds Management Company, Incorporated, and Debbie Reynolds Resorts, Incorporated. Reynolds filed for personal bankruptcy the same day because that bridge loan she had personally guaranteed was still outstanding. Bankruptcy Judge Robert Clive Jones was assigned to the case. The IRS moves in. While the hotel burned through cash during 1996 and into 1997, a separate problem was developing that would follow the Reynolds family long after the hotel was sold. When employers withhold federal income tax and Social Security contributions from employee paychecks, that money belongs to the government from the moment it is withheld. The employer holds it in trust, and the IRS treats failures to remit that money with particular severity. According to Las Vegas Sun reporting, the hotel accumulated a shortfall of approximately $513,469 in unpaid 1996 and 1997 employment taxes. The IRS threatened to immediately close the hotel if certain documents were not signed. Under Section 6672 of the tax code, the IRS can assess a trust fund recovery penalty equal to 100% of unpaid trust fund taxes against any individual determined to be a responsible person who willfully failed to remit those payments. That liability is personal, survives corporate bankruptcy, and follows the individual regardless of what happens to the company. In November of 2001, more than 3 years after the hotel had been sold, Todd Fisher filed a lawsuit against the IRS in the United States District Court for the District of Nevada. Fisher argued he had no signature authority on the company's payroll checks until after the bankruptcy filing and the departure of the chief operating officer, which meant he should not have been assessed as a responsible person. He also alleged the IRS had failed to properly file liens against the hotel, despite cooperation from the hotel's own attorneys and accountants. IRS spokesman Bill Brunson declined to comment. The employment tax claim was real and serious, but it did not foreclose on the hotel. The entity holding the dominant secured claim on the property was a private lender called Resort Funding Incorporated. The auction. Resort Funding Incorporated held the first priority and third priority secured claims against the hotel. In February of 1998, the debtor proposed selling to David Siegel's company, Central Florida Investments, for $14 million. The bankruptcy court opened competitive bidding, and by April, a company called CalStar Corporation entered as a backup bidder at $15,500,000. pushing Siegel up to $15,600,000. Both deals then collapsed. Central Florida Investments walked first, and CalStar followed, citing environmental concerns, including a diesel fuel leak from a generator on the property. This despite CalStar having loaned the hotel $150,000 to stay open during the due diligence period. The court set a public auction for August 5, 1998, with a minimum acceptable bid of $11.5 million. The World Wrestling Federation, bidding alongside 905 Parkview Group LLC, worked up to $10,100,000. Siegel reappeared and forced the price higher, and the WWF eventually bid $10,650,000. Further legal maneuvering produced a final settlement of $10,850,000 total, with $200,000 going to settle Siegel's competing claim. The secured liens totaled approximately $11.5 million. The final bid came to $10,850,000. Bankruptcy counsel Leonard Schwartzer put it plainly: "We did not receive enough to clear the liens on the property. It was not a successful auction." Reynolds attended and stated afterward, "This represents a long 6 years of hard work and dedication and love. But you can't look back. That's not the way I want to deal with this." The bankruptcy case generated an appeal that reached the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, which issued its ruling in July of 2001 in re Debbie Reynolds Hotel and Casino, Incorporated, reported at 255 Federal Reporter 3rd Series, page 1061. That decision became a standard reference in bankruptcy law for a specific question about how secured creditors' collateral can be charged for the costs of administering a bankruptcy estate. The WWF gutted the interior, then abandoned its plans, having determined the property wasn't large enough for the 35-story tower with a 50,000 square foot casino they had envisioned. The building eventually became the Greek Isles Hotel and Casino in August of 2001. Then the Clarion Hotel and Casino, the only Clarion in the United States that offered gaming. The Clarion closed September 1st, 2014, and the tower was imploded on February 10, 2015. The elevator shaft hung up after the first blast and had to be physically pulled down. Debbie Reynolds Drive, the side street renamed in her honor in 1996, outlasted the building by years. The collection sells. The hotel was gone, but Reynolds still had the collection. After the hotel closed, she moved it to a museum space near Hollywood Boulevard and pursued plans for a permanent home at a development in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. That developer went bankrupt too. In June of 2009, the Hollywood Motion Picture and Television Museum filed for Chapter 11 protection of its own, with the collection valued in that filing at $10,790,000. Reynolds was in her late 70s, still performing to fund the collection's storage and maintenance. In 2011, she made the decision to sell. Profiles in History, run by Joe Maddalena, was engaged for the job. Reynolds wrote the catalogue introduction herself. "I've concluded that my dream of having a museum cannot be fulfilled." The first auction, on June 18, 2011, generated approximately $22,800,000 in gross proceeds. Marilyn Monroe's white subway dress from The 7-Year Itch, designed by William Travilla in 1955, hammered at $4,600,000 and sold for $5,520,000 with buyer's premium, breaking the Guinness World Record for the most expensive dress ever sold at auction. Audrey Hepburn's ascot dress from My Fair Lady brought $3,700,000 at Hammer. Monroe's red gown from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes sold for $1,200,000. The Judy Garland Wizard of Oz test dress for $910,000, and the ruby slippers for $510,000 at Hammer. Charlton Heston's Ben-Hur tunic and cape sold for $320,000. And Charlie Chaplin's bowler hat brought $135,300. A second auction on December 3, 2011, generated $3,065,760 with buyer's premium, with Monroe costumes from Let's Make Love, Bus Stop, and Niagara each selling in the $200,000 range. The third and final sale in May of 2014 generated approximately $2,380,000, including Rat Pack tuxedos worn by Sinatra, Martin, Davis, Lawford, and Bishop, which sold together for $120,000. Across all three auctions, the collection produced approximately $28,250,000 in total gross proceeds. Maddalena later told The Hollywood Reporter those 2011 prices were ones that will never happen again, partly because of the collection's pedigree and partly because people came to support Debbie. Reynolds never stopped working after the bankruptcy. She received a Primetime Emmy nomination in 2000 for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series for playing Bobby Adler on Will and Grace, appeared in Disney's Halloween Town franchise from 1998 through 2006, and received both the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award and the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award in 2015. On December 28, 2016, one day after her daughter Carrie Fisher died, Debbie Reynolds died too. Debbie Reynolds spent 46 years and an incalculable personal fortune preserving Hollywood history that no studio, institution, or government agency was willing to protect. The hotel failed because a company called Debbie Reynolds Hotel and Casino collected essentially no casino revenue in a city where casino revenue is everything, and $450,000 a month in losses will eventually consume any dream, regardless of how sincere it is. The IRS came for the payroll taxes. Resort funding came for the property. The wrestlers took the keys. And Reynolds kept performing, kept working, and watched the collection she had saved from the 1970 MGM auction sell for $28 million to buyers around the world. The hotel is rubble. The neon sign bearing her name was restored in 2024 and is lit again at the Neon Museum in Las Vegas. That is the ending she would have written herself.